as I conclude now, with this seven rough analysis I did, this is not a class, and nobody's paid me. I could have sat down to do a thorough, blow by blow, a fuller analysis. But I mean, just this rough analysis, so you know that what Iran is, what is playing out in all of in the glare of the world, is not something that is haphazard. It's not something that is not carefully thought through. Unlike what America and Israel, who haven't actually thought through this carefully. Now, from these seven strategies that Iran is executing so brilliantly, what are my conclusions? Why did I say the US and Israel will lose? What are my reasons? Number one reason, global response. What is global response so far, to this war? Russia is not in support of what America is doing. China definitely is not in support because China gets 70% of its crude oil supplies from Iran. India is not in support, obviously. Japan gets about 50% of its crude oil supplies from Iran, is not in support. The United Kingdom, a traditional ally of the US, are not in support. Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of Britain, said, no, we can't allow you to use our base. We're not going to support you, even though I think he's softened somewhat. North Korea definitely is a strategic ally, of Iran. They're not in support. So global response, against this war eventually will make America lose. Number two reasons, economic conditions, economic considerations or impact. Now, this is perhaps the biggest reason why America would lose. Because if China, Japan, Saudi Arabia, the GCC countries, Bahrain, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, if they pull out their reserves, their foreign reserves that is denominated in US dollars, if they pull this out of the US economy, the American stock market collapses. The US economy loses trillions of dollars. The stock market, the New York Stock Exchange, the Nasdaq, they lose several trillions, of dollars, lose almost 80% of its valuation. The economy collapses. Of course, there will be a spiral effect, the global economy. Now, because of this, America will lose this war because that is a risk that nobody in America would brook or countenance. The third reason, geopolitical realignment. Now, the reason why the BRICS group of countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and then there are so many others lining up to join that group. The reason why they came up together is because they wanted to be a counterweight to American hegemony in the global financial the global financial world. Particularly so. If these companies they've been discussing now, if they decide now because of this reality to say, what, we're not going to, the global trade and commerce is not going to be dependent on the US dollar. We need an alternative to this. They may not agree amongst themselves on what currency. They may decide to go back to gold standard, to be using gold, as a global, medium of exchange, or maybe come up with a different, currency, maybe platinum, maybe even who knows, maybe crypto or whatever. That is a major reason why America would lose. Geopolitical realignment. Number four reason, local political outlook, or pressure. Now, there's going to be midterms elections in November in America. If Republican lawmakers, both in the Senate and Congress, put revolt against Donald Trump, and they may do that very soon because politicians, if you know anything about politicians, they are selfish. They are utterly selfish and self-centered. They'll put themselves first before anybody. They would revolt against Donald Trump, and make him pull back from this foolish and stupid, war. Now, the fifth reason why I think America would lose this war, and it's lost already anyway, is cost, both in terms of finance and human. So far, the human casualty on the American side, probably 20 or thereabouts, even though the mainstream media aren't saying much about this. Israel is losing so many lives. It's not being shown, But then financial cost also. So far, some estimate puts what America has lost in just 10 days to about 20 billion US dollars. America that does not have money for healthcare, for this, for that, is spending. So the more this war goes on, because Iran is prepared, fully prepared to make this long drawn out, to make this a long-term war. America can't afford that. So because of cost in terms of human lives and finance, America would lose this war. And I think it's already losing this war. Don't listen to what Donald Trump is saying, claiming victory. That's delusional at best. Now, why do I say Iran would win? Iran would win for all the reasons, I've itemized or iterated. Iran has prepared for over 40 years for the eventuality it is facing or confronted with right now. Do I support everything Iran does or what it represents? Absolutely not. But I would never support a scenario where, in a free world, where a nation wakes up, the leadership of one nation wakes up, enters into a different country, captures the leader of that country for no reason, not backed by international law or the global order, United Nations, and all of that, just unilaterally acts to decimate or kill the entire leadership of a different. That kind of world is an unjust world. It's a world that is lawless, and it's an invitation to the third world war that everybody has been, whispering about. We're on the edge of a major breakout in world war if we're not of a major war if we're not careful. Now, for these reasons and many others, America, this is a foolish war that Donald Trump has plunged the world into with Benjamin Netanyahu of the Prime Minister of Israel, and they cannot win this war. The earlier they stop this foolishness and go back to restoring peace and order in the world, the better for everybody. Thank you for listening. Bye for now.